and in person with Marki Lemons-Ryhal. So thank you so much for coming on the show, Marki. You are an absolute joy to be with at all times.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it. It's a great day here in the city of Chicago. Finally, we're getting warm weather, and as I look out my window, the sun is shining, so it's a great day.
Great day to be alive. Great day to be in real estate. Love it. So I was on Marki's program a few months ago. It was a great experience, so I invited her onto our program, and she is a social media expert. So you might have seen her live at several events she does around the country, or might have seen her online with her own podcast. But I would love to talk to you about all things that are going on right now. I mean, we're living in a crazy time, right?
We are living in a crazy time. I've officially been quarantined, is it 15 or 16 weeks today? But ever since Friday, March the 13th, my life changed. And I go out maybe once a week to go to the grocery store. And even though our city is open, it just seems that people are a little careless. And if I can't get on a plane and travel and hang out with my fellow realtors, I figured I can just stay in the house.
I love it. I love it. So what are you recommending to agents right now? I mean, you're out talking to agents all the time, maybe not live, but through virtual meetings and through podcasts. What's your recommendations right now for what we're going through?
Well, I think my recommendation has always been the same, and that is, one, we need to consistently study our industry and understand what is next. So I've had the opportunity to pivot relatively easy because I was already embracing live stream and video. I have a 4K live streaming office here in my home that I had, and I've updated my equipment. And so if you're not reading the trends and the stats, you don't really know what's going to be next. And I've been doing that even with me embracing social media and technology. That came about as the result of me reading the 2006 profile of buyers and sellers from the National Association of Realtors. And it told me that in 1995, only 2% of buyers were coming to the internet as a source of information. But when I was reading that report, it was 80%. And I started thinking to myself, what else has increased 78% in a matter of 10 years?
Yeah.
And so for me, it's always being on the lookout for what's next. And I think for a lot of people, especially I would say in our age bracket, I'll be 50 next month, is we were raised by a generation of people who learned to master one thing and they could do that their entire lives.
Yeah.
That's not the case for us. And so we have to become lifelong learners and look to what's going to be next, because change is the only constant.
Absolutely. I turned 50 last August, so I'm right there with you. We're in the 50 club, right? Yeah. When I turned 50, I did a 50 things I want to do in my 50th year. I don't know. I got to check how well I'm doing. So I got till August to complete it. So we'll see how close I get here.
Come on now.
But you said a lot of great things there. So just in that little snippet, I got a couple of questions. So when you say you went 4K, explain what that means for the novice out there.
And so one thing I was thinking about was webinars. So I've even changed my title to be that of a global virtual keynote speaker and presenter, because we're doing webinars now that are global, right? People from different, and it's easier, right?
Yeah.
And I'm thinking moving forward, I was like, oh, I need to implement this because I really wasn't taking global jobs due to the travel. 2 days essentially to get there and get your mind right. You do the event, 2 days to get back. Well, no, I can come in this office, go live and never go anywhere, right? Essentially.
Right.
And so what I decided to do was, there are some experts in live streaming video, live streaming pros, and they have an equipment list. So that means that I purchased a gaming computer, actually an Alienware gaming computer, which when you're 50, it's like, why would I buy a gaming computer? That doesn't, as a 50-year-old woman, that just really didn't sound right. But it's because it streams the best 4K video. So when you look at all these guys in gaming, they have great video.
Right.
I used to have all of my equipment on tripods. Now I have arms on my desk and I'm doing table mounted. And I have the big 18-inch ring light, and I had to call Comcast and upgrade my internet package because my whole house is at home working. And I noticed that it was not working correctly. So I had to spend another $49 a month to make sure that I have the Wi-Fi capacity to do live streaming video. So I
at a
implemented
4K level.
at a 4K level, right?
Yeah.
So I had to make an investment, but it was an investment that I'd already said I was going to make, but now I had the time to make it and implement.
Right, right. That's one thing we've been given back, I think, is time. So when we are going to and from offices, you know, just that friction time alone, my wife and I live about a half hour from our offices. So every day that's an hour, that's, you know, 5 hours a week. You get 5 hours a week back when you're in quarantine. That's so much time you can invest in your life and in your business. It's crazy.
It is. Another thing I managed to do was start to work through my to-do list. And so because I hit about 100 cities per year, you know, I'll pack my bag, I'll leave, you'll start a project, but when you get back home, you don't really know where to pick up, right? Because you have to pick up where you left off. And so oftentimes you don't pick back up, right? Being at home, I come into my office like I work for a corporation, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Friday. You'll catch me in the same seat. And I've been able to get things done because I didn't have the break. You know, the go leave home for 24 to 48 hours and come back. And so I'm actually elated about being at home, even though I look forward to going back out. And the one thing that I learned, and I'm sad that I didn't know it before, was that my youngest son, he does not like strawberry jelly. So when you get home, he like, Mom, I've never liked strawberry jelly. And I'm like, oh, I didn't realize that. So that's the one thing I feel bad about, is that I did not know that my youngest son did not like strawberry jelly.
What are you recommending to agents for what you call pivoting? So pivoting in this environment that we're in.
So let me say what I did, because I often don't talk about theory. I talk about things that I've actually implemented. I only talk about things I've implemented myself. So on Friday, March the 13th, once I realized that I was going to be grounded for months and that my business plan for 2020 was not going to become a reality, I slept for 48 hours because mentally I was exhausted. And then I woke up and I looked at my finances to see how long could I really, you save your money, but you don't really calculate how long can I really stay at home? What does my savings allow me to do? And so then for about a week, you know, I had to sit with that. After that was over, I went back to my business plan and I looked at the business plan and I said, okay, based on what I have and based on what I want to do, the first thing was replace the amount. So you don't touch your savings. You need to replace the income to not touch your savings. But that doesn't mean that I needed to make as much money as I was going to make. Okay. Because of the cost of living. So I did that. So then it was like, okay, well, Marki, you got things you had on your to-do list, right? So since I've been home, I've embraced what add-ons can we as real estate professionals have to our business that might be in the form of passive income, providing more value, or looking at what is going to further differentiate us, our unique selling proposition. So as a speaker, I started writing journals, right? Actually, I have probably put out 20 different articles over on Kindle Print on Demand. And for the average realtor, that might be your buyer's guide. Why can't you sell that as a book, or your seller's guide and it's specific to your community? And the cost of printing is relatively low. So I said, well, let me implement this line of products. And what I really did was I enrolled at YouTube University for absolutely $0 and every single day I am committed to learning something new, a new tactic. So another thing is, a lot of people were told to get loans. I didn't get a loan, but my oldest son said, Mom, you already have a card over here at Navy Federal. Why don't you get you another card? And so I went and got another card, and I call that my business card. And it had a credit limit of $15,000, so that if I wanted to implement new strategies, instead of getting a loan, because I already know I've replaced my income, but I had savings if I didn't have the income. So now let me go and get a credit card, not a loan, and I get to repay this back essentially as I desire to cover any of the expenses for this new endeavor or add on to an existing business.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
So that's
So
kind of been my mindset.
kind of your credit, it's like a credit line to support your new business
Exactly.
lane. I get it. So let's talk about social, because you are the expert in social media. What is your best recommendations for the average agent?
So for the average agent, I tell every agent that they need to create 1 minute, 60 little seconds of video content Monday through Friday. And
Every
the
day?
reason, every Monday through Friday, 1 minute.
Wow.
1 minute. But let me tell you why.
Okay.
So when we take a look at a real estate professional's business plan, if they want to earn a 6-figure income and their average price point is $250,000, they need to add 2,880 contacts to that customer relationship management system. Well, I treat social media and technology as lead generation.
Right.
So you need to have a minimum of an hour, most people 2 hours, but a minimum of an hour of lead gen on your calendar Monday through Friday to add these 2,880 contacts. So what I recommend with this 1 hour of lead generation is that you allocate 60 seconds or 1 minute to creating 1 minute of video content that does one or two things. Either it lets people get to know you better, or you solve the problems of your community.
Love it.
One or the other. So either they're getting to know Marki more, or I'm giving them a resource that helps them with their problems.
Got it.
So the beautiful thing is it costs no money to create this 1 minute of video content. But I do have a couple of strategies.
Okay.
When it comes to this mobile device, right? The very first thing is, if you work out, you have sweat glands all over your phone. If you've touched it, you have fingerprints all over your phone. If you wear makeup, you have makeup all over your phone. So I'm pretty sure real estate professionals have attended real estate events and they managed to get one of these lens wipes. But I really like these, the disposable ones with alcohol, which, think about the coronavirus, I probably need to wipe my hands off with this, right? Alcohol works. So we wipe our lens off because it will create a cast over your videos and over your photos, okay?
Got it.
The next tip that I don't think people think about, we were taught as children to look people directly in their eyes because it builds trust. When you create a video, you need to look directly into the camera so that the consumer will feel as if you are talking to them. But often what happens, we check ourselves out in our device.
Guilty.
Guilty, right? So forget looking the person in the eyes, which now means we haven't built trust. Okay? So we need to, it feels awkward, but we need to look directly at people when we're speaking to them, even in creating our videos.
So Marki, that means we're looking right at that camera. We're looking right
at it. Right? Like, look, just like I'm doing now. So imagine you ask me a question, look, and I'm going to answer you, but I'm doing this. Hey, how you doing today? You're thinking, first of all, who is she talking to, right?
Yeah, right. Well, what?
Exactly. Right? First thing, am I here by myself? Is what you're asking yourself, like, and it feels strange for you to look at it, right?
Right. Yeah.
The next thing is we have a habit of holding our devices down low, right? And as I tell people, now, maybe they're not as seasoned as we are, right? Because we're seasoned professionals hitting this 50-year-old world, right? Well, there's nothing cute going on in the neck or the chin area. There's nothing cute going on down here, okay? So we want to always hold our devices at or above eye level. At or above. It's going to paint us in our best positive light for absolutely no money. One other little tip in creating this video. We always want the light to either be on the device or to be behind the device, okay? We don't ever want the lights to be behind us because now we create distractions and we're not actually in our best light. So the tips that I'm consistently sharing with real estate professionals actually cost them no money. So what I'm trying to do is reduce the barrier to entry, but more important, I am the no excuse zone.
Right.
If you can do it for no cost and it's in the palm of your hand anyway,
right.
Why can't you create a video?
Right. Love it. What about, so the biggest question I think I get is, what do I talk about? A minute a day, what do I talk about? Tell us what to talk about, Marki.
Well, the first thing, you're going to introduce yourself, okay?
Right.
And I believe that every real estate professional should have a niche.
Yeah.
So you need to define what that niche is going to be, and you just verbally convey what that niche is.
Right.
Through my podcast, what I've learned is that what videos perform well for people in every market. That would be a cost of living video where the agent would go into their local MLS and do some research about the cost of living in that area.
Yeah.
And then they should do a video where they do a versus, right? The cost of living in Naperville versus the cost of living in Chicago. Now, at the moment that we decide to do a cost of living here versus the cost of living somewhere else, you need to also reach out to that community and find you a referral agent, right?
Yes.
They're seeing my video, they reach out to me. Maybe they don't want to live in Chicago because they I like the school system, let's say in Naperville. Well, okay, not a problem. I have a Naperville agent to refer you to. Okay. There's a tool called wave.video/calendar. It is free. It is a 365-day calendar. It tells you what every single day of the year is, and it also gives you hashtags for that day. So I tell agents, and you can sync it with your Google Calendar. So I recommend that agents sync that calendar because it will give them something to talk about every single day. Yesterday was International Sushi Day, right?
Yeah.
So what you might do is eat at the top rated sushi restaurant in your neighborhood because people are searching for that location.
Right.
You patronize them, and if you have an enjoyable experience, you talk about your favorite item from that restaurant and tag them in the post. So now when people are searching for that restaurant, they find you even though they might not have been looking for real estate.
Love it. Beautiful idea. Brilliant. Now, I have one question, technical question.
Yes.
Which is microphone. You recommend a microphone?
So I do recommend microphones, but my top videos were all in my car with no microphone.
Really? Interesting.
Yes. So I will do a video in my car, but I make sure that I roll the windows up, and you cannot have your AC high or your heat high because you'll get the draft, right?
Yeah.
And so I make sure everything is turned low. In my home office where I am now, I have a Sennheiser over-the-head microphone. The reason I wear this mic at home is because it's USB into my computer, so I'm not Bluetooth. Well, I guess you could probably see that. But it's my favorite mic because I move and I'm animated, right?
Right.
However, when I have to give the absolute best audio in the world, people have told me, be still, and I use a Yeti mic.
Got it. Yep. I use Yeti too. Great mic. Okay.
So
great.
Audio to me is more important than the actual lighting because we can take this video. If we have great audio, we can turn it into a podcast. We can do audio to text transcription for blog posts, email marketing, photo quote post. And so I prefer to get the best audio, not necessarily the best visual quality.
That was another question I have. Do you prefer, like when you're shooting your video, and I'm sure you tell us just to do it wherever you can, right? But do you prefer to do it like in your studio, or do you prefer to be out in the field, or does it matter?
Well, right now, I'm telling you, some places you might not have a seller who wants you on the premises, right?
Right.
So I'm recommending that we do seller guided tours where we use a tool like Zoom We have the seller walking through the property, but we are the voice and the face, okay? It depends on the circumstances, right? And a lot of us have been quarantined. You had states that were viewed as non-essential. And so initially, I was 50-50. I believe in doing video where you are, okay?
Yeah.
However, because so many of us are quarantined and we're starting to see even another spike in the coronavirus, then if you're going to be at home, there isn't any excuse to not to continue to create video every single day from the comfort of your home.
Got it. Okay, great. So let's talk about stories, because I know stories is a big part of social media now. And I think most agents don't understand stories and don't understand the importance of stories. What's your take on stories?
So right now, stories are the fastest growing form of content in the history of the internet.
Wow.
Right. But here's the reason why. Because we all have these vertical devices.
Right.
Okay. And so it's the way that we're holding our phone, which increased our consumption. One of the issues with stories is that, well, here's probably two issues that people view. They disappear every 24 hours, but I want to add something to the end. They disappear every 24 hours from the public eye. It doesn't mean you can't make them public again. Okay.
Right.
So they disappear, but now we're forced to create content every 24 hours.
Right.
The next thing is that contingent upon your platform of choice, because you have Instagram stories, you have Facebook stories, you have Snapchat, you have TikTok. They really all kind of work the same way.
Yeah.
You need a little bit more content, but that 160-second video, to me, you should definitely use stories. But I guess I should reference this. It really depends on who your audience is.
Okay.
So this is not, one size fits all. So
Sure.
I believe as real estate agents, we should hang out on the platform where the buyers and sellers are hanging out in the communities that we serve.
Gotcha. So where's your audience at?
Where's your audience at? For me, I have a very big Facebook audience. And here's the thing, you can find these numbers out, right?
Yeah.
My audience across all the platforms is about 70% female. Okay.
Gotcha.
But on Pinterest, the average age is 25. But
Wow.
when I look at all the other platforms, it's 35 to 54.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So Pinterest skews younger.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure that out because it really threw me off. Right?
I would think Pinterest would be older to me, but yeah, that's interesting.
So it's kind of like I'm the favorite older auntie, I guess. Yeah, because it's a little strange. So for me, understanding who I'm serving then often dictates the platform. You don't pick your platform based on you and your desires. You pick the platform based on the audience. And when you have two different platforms that might serve that audience well, what I recommend to agents is pick the platform that is the most intuitive to you because you're more likely to use it consistently.
Got it. So let's talk platforms for a second, because there's a million platforms. I mean, you named several right out of the gate: Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, LinkedIn, Snapchat, and TikTok. I think you in 5 minutes you gave us all those. I'm sure you, as a social media expert on all those platforms, as you'd have to be. But for agents, I mean, is there a guidepost? Should they start on Facebook, move to Instagram? Or what do you think?
This is what's funny. So to me, if you're doing corporate sales, reload, potential REOs are coming back to the market, I highly recommend LinkedIn. Okay, commercial practitioners, to me, LinkedIn would be their number one go-to because the decision makers are hanging out on LinkedIn.
Sure.
If I was going to come back and look at Facebook, what I've seen a change. So my oldest son graduated from college last year. At the moment, him and his friends graduated and became gainfully employed. They all came back. Yeah, because they want to feel grown. Like they want you to know they're paying their own bills, got their own car, like they real serious. They have their savings and they're investing, right?
Sure.
At the moment that occurred, they came back in masses to Facebook because now they want to be a part of the grown folks conversation.
Yeah, that's very fascinating. So that's like
that's the
adult place.
It's the adult place. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
But
very
in
interesting.
college, they were not messing with us
Uh,
on Facebook.
uh,
But I saw the shift because of him.
that's
And I'm
very
like,
interesting.
so it's kind of like, yeah, yeah, we're back. It's kind of
Right.
how I took it, right? Um, Instagram and Pinterest are very visual.
Hmm.
And to me, to be on both, what has been effective for me is I use a tool called If This Then That, www.ifttt, that's 3Ts.com. What it allows me to do is automate redundant tasks. So I connected my Instagram and my Pinterest account to If This Then That. So every time I post to Instagram, it posts to a board on Pinterest.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
And I want to say it was 2 weeks ago, I saw a 3-digit increase when I do it. For me, it's consistency.
Right.
So I see growth when I am consistent. The more
Right.
consistent I am, the more growth that I see.
Yep. Yep. Hmm.
So it's not one size fits all. I would want everyone to take the time to research the channel, understanding who the audience is, instead of taking the time to set the channel up. Because even though I mentioned TikTok, and yes, I do have a TikTok account, and yes, I've seen great engagement from my TikTok videos I've created, it is not a platform that I'm vested in because I believe I can get greater results from Facebook and Pinterest, and that a larger percentage of my audience is hanging out on those two platforms.
So on Pinterest, just so everybody's clear, Pinterest, does it support video or is it only photos?
It supports video. And
It
so
supports
you
video.
can load video directly into Pinterest, or you
Mhm.
can pin video links to Pinterest.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. And my
Um,
videos have done very well, to be quite honest with
on
you.
Pinterest.
On Pinterest, yes. It's that they're my most engaged, it is my most engaged content on that platform.
Do you recommend, is there advertising on Pinterest? I'm just curious.
Yes, you can do Pinterest ads. And
Interesting.
here's what's funny. I spend very little money on
Uh,
ads
yeah.
because I'm more vested in the consistency.
Right.
And so if you're more consistent, and here's what's good about Pinterest. Oftentimes, you make a post and your post can get lost in the feed, right?
Yeah.
Well, on Pinterest, you could pin something and 2 years later, it could still be hot. It's not getting lost in a feed.
Yeah. That's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah. Because it's less about the scroll, I think.
It is.
So let's talk about the scroll a little bit. With Facebook, a popular thing to think about is to use it as a CRM and to use that as a place where you really are engaging with your client base. Is that a recommendation from you?
Yes. And here's the thing. Facebook is the place that people tell you all their business in real time, and it doesn't cost you anything to listen.
Yeah.
And it's not always what they say, it's also the absence of what they say, but their
Mhm.
behavior. So
Right.
I tell people, I already know when your wife is going to leave you. And, and no, I'm serious, because women, we get a gym membership and we take you to the gym with us every single day.
Right.
We start posting motivational and spiritual posts. We become a little bit more revealing because we're going to the gym in our attire.
Yeah.
So all of my husband's friends whose wives have left them, I told my husband before they left, before they made any public announcement, it's problems going on over there,
Uh,
based solely on either what they were posting or the
hmm.
fact that maybe at one time they talked about their husbands every single day.
Yeah.
And then you look up and you realize they haven't said anything in 30 days,
Yeah.
90 days, a year.
Hmm.
You're like,
Hmm.
okay, it's human
True.
behavior.
Yeah. 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 It's very fascinating.
Yeah. So I like to just hang out and
Hmm.
listen,
Yeah.
because people are telling you all of their business in real time. And because of that, if you're connected to them and if you're following them, yeah, you don't even have to follow them. You
Hmm.
get to now slide into Messenger and you can become a resource, a
Hmm.
person to talk to. And
Hmm.
it's not salesy. It's just, hey, I'm checking on you. And you
Yeah.
could even say it. I saw your last post. Generally, you're
Mhm.
very cheerful. Is there
Yeah.
anything that I can do for you today?
Not real estate related, just human, relationship related.
That's it. So
Yeah.
I 100% agree. And because of Messenger, I can call everybody. A lot of people, I don't have their telephone number,
Yeah.
right? But I can go into Messenger and talk to them.
Right. Hit the button. Video conference, right? Yeah.
Video conference. Yep.
So I want to circle all the way back from when we first started talking. You mentioned a number, which I know I'm going to get a question on, which was 2,880.
Yes.
Give me the metrics behind 2,880. What's that number come from?
So as part of our company's business plan, we broke down how many we looked at all the conversions. So whether you meet a person face to face or whether you meet them online. So we realize you have a higher conversion when you meet people face to face. Okay.
Yeah.
And the way to increase your online conversions is to do video, because people get to see your mannerisms, your tone, all of that.
Sure.
So I have a sheet around here where we break down, once you add a person to your customer relationship management system.
Mm-hmm.
The next one is whether you've met them or not.
Yeah.
The next one is, once they get approved, what's the likelihood of them doing business with you, based on where they want to live, what your FICO score is. So it takes everything, the percentage, 1 out of 10, this is likely to occur. So in order to get to 20 closed transactions at $100,000, if you were to make $5,000, that would be your net take home, right?
Got it. Yep.
You need to add 2,880 contacts to your customer relationship management system to net you that 20 transactions.
Got it. Okay. So does that mean your friends list is that big in your mind on social?
Well, no, let me say this. Let me necessarily. Well, let me say this. My friend list is.
Yeah, how big is your friend list? I bet it's massive.
So I have a lot of friends, but I've been doing this for 20 years, and I'm a social butterfly. And so I was very social before. I was social before social media. I didn't need social media to be social.
Right.
But I've always kept a database.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the one thing that I've always, and back in the day, I think it wasn't even Excel at the time. It was some spreadsheet, but I was going to put your name, mailing address, and telephone number in that spreadsheet.
Right.
So for me, I have probably 9,000 connections on LinkedIn and 10,000 on Instagram. Everyone is not going to be connected to you across every platform, and every last one of those people will not be in your customer relationship management system.
Sure. Yeah, you're going to have gaps, right?
You're going to have gaps. But here's the thing. If you've done a great job of adding 100 to 200, I'll give you a range, of dedicated people who send you referrals, then you would spend your time nurturing those relationships. You wouldn't have to spend your time adding the 2,880 contacts to your customer relationship management system. But as we both know, several agents, top producing agents, who never cultivate that 100 to 200 raving fans.
Yeah.
So they have to, for the rest of their lives, generate leads.
Yep. They're trapped in a lead generation spin. Exhausting. Yeah.
That's the hardest. I would just like to have 100 cool friends who love me that I hang out with all the time, and I service their needs.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier, and it's more fun.
Love it. Yeah, absolutely. Let me ask you this, because this is a big topic when it comes to just social media in general, is this idea of influencers. And if you go on Instagram and you type in hashtag real estate, hashtag realtor for life, you're going to see tons and tons of people that are trying to become influencers. And just talk to us about that for a second. What do you think of it? What do you think of this whole influencer rage right now?
So what's funny is I'm viewed as an influencer, so I've been paid as an influencer. Let me reference that. Okay. However, there was a new study that just came out about Kylie Jenner and the sale of her company, and the fact that she should not have been on Forbes' list for being a billionaire, right?
Right.
And because she sold her makeup company, then the numbers were revealed. And it showed that even though her numbers on social media were actually taken no, her numbers were growing on social media while her sales were declining.
Interesting.
So they're saying there's really no correlation necessarily to having more followers, especially when you can buy those followers.
Right.
And so the ability to influence doesn't necessarily correlate to having these big numbers.
Yeah.
Because even though she was an influencer and people are paying her, her own company numbers were decreasing
Or they're
substantially.
going down. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it gets back to the quality of your audience, like you were saying earlier. So the quality of your audience, you can have thousands of people that don't really care about you, but if you have 100 or 2 that really care about you, that's what it's all about. It's the quality of the person.
It is 100% the quality of the people. So I don't have the largest numbers, but I'm clear that I'm in a niche. And as a speaker, I only work on behalf of realtors. Inside of that niche, people take my recommendation, but they take my recommendation because they know that one, I'm one of them, but that I care about them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they take action even with the smaller numbers. And they're showing a lot of it'll take my youngest son to point this out, because he'll go through and he'll say, Ma, fake followers. Oh, they bought those followers, or you'll look at their post and they'll have, 50,000 people, which would be 5 times my followers. But then they're only getting 10% of the engagement that I get.
Yeah.
Oh, so you don't have real relationships.
Right. That's the key, is engagement.
Yes.
You're not saying that in those engagement numbers, which that's another conversation, is engagement. So when you are posting, how important it is for you to watch your engagement numbers, because obviously some posts get more engagement than others. Can you speak to that?
So I do watch my engagement numbers. I understand that all posts are not going to resonate. But earlier I told you about my car videos.
Yeah.
My car videos were all personal videos. And so what I've realized, my top 5 videos have nothing to do with real estate.
Interesting.
They're all personal videos. People want to get to know you. So with me knowing that those engagement numbers and the fact that they want to get to know me, I am I have 5 good secrets. And actually, I only think I have 3, but I'm holding on to 5 just in case I want to add some new ones to it, right? I'll tell you anything about me other than these 5 secrets. And people feel as if they know me. My husband does not have a Facebook account. My husband believes that Facebook is the work of the devil. He does.
And this is your full-time job.
Yeah. And this is exactly. So my husband is approached or stopped at least once per week by people who see that I've posted about him on Facebook. And they say to him, "Hey, Marki's husband," or "Hey, Mr. Marki." That's the approach, right? All the time. So what I'm clear about is my audience knows who my husband is, but I have a joke about that.
Yeah.
Because I'm generally on the road 100 nights per year, I need all the women in Chicago to know that that's my man. So I post about him consistently.
Stay away.
Yeah. Can't say you did not know he belonged to me.
Let me ask you about reposting, because from my experience when I'm watching realtors that I'm coaching, is the mistake is I feel like I've got to post, so I'm going to repost other people's content. And if you watch those engagement numbers, they're almost 0. Yeah. Is that because of exactly what you're saying? It's not personal to you?
Well, it's not personal to you. And I do believe that Facebook's algorithm reduces the visibility of those in the feed.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I have a video 3 weeks ago. It is my #1 video ever. It's been viewed over 36,000 times.
Wow.
And yeah, that was a lot. But let me tell you this, it was very personal. It was very emotional. So, and it was a story, right? A lot of people, hundreds of people shared that video to get it to, the 36,000.
Sure.
However, it was only a few that came from each of those people who actually shared it. So when they shared it to their audience, they didn't get the same visibility on any of the hundreds of feeds, right? That I received posting it directly.
I got it. That's very interesting. Very interesting. How much time do you spend a day yourself engaging in other people's content? I mean, like liking, commenting, is that a big part of what you do?
Yes,
Yeah.
liking, commenting, or more important, I pay attention
Mm-hmm.
so that when I see people
Yeah.
or when I comment, they know that I've been watching them.
Yeah.
And so when I see people and meet them face to face, I can say something about them, like, oh, congratulations on your daughter's graduation,
Yeah.
and a lot of times I can see the shock.
Like you
You
watched.
follow me? And I'm like, yeah, and you do know it was a public post. Like
Right.
you posted it for me to see it, right?
Right.
And so I believe in building relationships, and I know that people like to be acknowledged for their accomplishments.
Mm-hmm.
And so I am consistently watching people. But let me tell you this, I also delete a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
Um, people who do not have an original thought in their mind. So that
Mm-hmm.
person who the only thing they post is other people's content,
Yep.
right?
Yep. Yep.
What I could have seen that for myself. And so
Right.
if you cannot share something new, an idea, a strategy with me, then I'm not going to be your friend very long because I don't want the reposter as a friend.
Right. Don't need it.
Okay?
Yep.
No, I don't need it. And the very negative person
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
whose goal is to put everyone else down who doesn't believe in their philosophy.
Yeah.
If I come to your page, let me say this, if I come to your page and you just have one negative comment, we're still going to be friends because you could just be having a bad day. Okay.
Sure. Sure.
But if I come and this is like who you are as a person,
Yeah.
delete.
Got to get it off. Yeah.
Gotta get it off. I believe in karma and energy, and so no, I can't have it.
So a big conversation point right now is, and I hear this from agents all the time, is if they have a political position, should they take it, or should they stay away from it? My answer is always, you don't want to touch that unless you can articulate your position in a way that is, not going to come across as being too one-sided. And what is your take on political viewpoints on social?
So my great-grandmother, my grandmother, and my mother told me that there were two things women should not talk about in public: religion and politics.
Yeah.
I 100% do not talk about politics. And let me say this, based on the media, we could have something to say every day, all day.
Right.
I say, and to even go even deeper, my husband and I don't agree on politics, and that is generally an hour discussion. And
Yeah.
so I'm like, yeah, I don't really want to have these discussions with people outside of my house. I save that energy for him. Okay.
Right. Right.
I don't, people know what my religious beliefs are because I'm so thankful and I'm grateful.
Sure.
However, I don't practice my religious beliefs at the expense of other people's religious beliefs.
Yeah.
So there's nothing in my post that would ever make you think that I was putting you down for your personal beliefs.
Got it. Yeah, good
Yeah.
advice. I love that advice. Let's talk about you talked about a little bit about growing your numbers, but this is a big obsession with a lot of people. Like, I got to grow my followers, I got to grow my friends list. How personally do you grow your list? Is it or you're speaking, so you're naturally getting a lot of people coming to you, but how would you recommend people grow, I guess, is my question.
So I am consistently growing. And even though I said I believe everybody should add 2,880 contacts, as a result of me being consistent, I add roughly 4,800 contacts. And because I have a podcast, then I am also emailing to that group of people. And I'll come back and I'll do Father's Day cards and I do Valentine's Day cards. Well, let me say this. I do Valentine's Day cards to women because I don't want to get in trouble with anybody's wife. And I do Father's Day card to men. And the reason I pick those dates is because it's the time of year that people tend to receive the least amount of correspondence to what is important to them. So I don't ever want to, I don't like to be where everybody else is. So I'm not sending you a Christmas card. Let me just let you know that, because everybody's sending you a Christmas card.
Sure.
So when we start thinking about what this is looking like, I'm always looking for that point that I can do something a little bit different, but I'm adding those numbers to bring value to them, but I also come back and scrub those lists. So when people aren't engaging with me, I'm scrubbing that list. We know opens our emails, if they click, what's the click-through rate. And so my goal is that, one, we can connect on a different level, and that you will know what's going on, and I'll provide you with resources. So I give a lot of stuff away. And then if you decide this is not what I want now, I'm going to know that, and I'm going to scrub that list. So developing relationships takes time, because one, people need to trust you, and you have to you got to consistently show up, right? If not, they're going to disconnect with you. But I'm adding 4,800 contacts only because of my consistency. And I want my numbers to grow we always want our numbers to grow, right? And I will say that there is a direct correlation, because I have all these people, and because I'm emailing to them, and because I'm consistent. I have seen that every single year my business numbers have grown.
Yeah, love it. Let me ask you about just the email list specifically. And when you say you scrub your numbers, I understand what you're saying, but what does that look like for you? Does that mean if you look back and say, if they didn't open my email for 90 days, they're out? What's your metric for that?
Generally, I'm going in once a year to take a look at the numbers. If they haven't engaged with the emails, then I'm going to take them. I'm not going to email to them. And that doesn't mean I don't keep their information. It's just that I'm not going to email to them, because they've shown me they don't really want to hear what their actions say, that they don't really want the information.
Last question on growth real quick is, and maybe this is related, maybe it's not, hashtags on Instagram. How do you handle hashtags? How do you decide what hashtags to use?
So I do a lot of hashtag research on Instagram by going to the magnifying glass and seeing what hashtags are being used the most. However, in having a hashtag strategy, if you use the most hashtags, your content is going to be suppressed faster, because everyone is using that hashtag. So the hashtag real estate or the hashtag realtor, I'm pretty sure every second someone is posting content. So when you look at the feed and the recent post, they would have to scroll down to the 60th post within a minute, right? So you want to use very popular hashtags. I'm not saying to not use them, but also use hashtags that aren't as popular. So you might use real estate. Then I might use Chicago real estate.
Got it.
Or real estate in Chicago, right? Because the ones with Chicago are still popular, but not as popular, which then keeps me in the hashtag feed longer.
Got it. That makes total sense. Do you put your own name as a hashtag?
I don't put my own name as a hashtag, but I do put my corporation name. So I have a hashtag Remarketable, which that's my corporation, my LLC. And so I use that so that if I go to that hashtag, I can see all of the content that I've posted with that hashtag. So you might use it to break out, let's say you have 1,000 posts, but you only have 300 that talk about, oh, I live in Bronzeville. Let's say I use the hashtag Bronzeville. So I could go to the Bronzeville hashtag and find only the content that I've posted about Bronzeville.
Got it. Let me just ask you really quickly, on Instagram, geofarming. You've heard that. Do you believe in that? Do you think it works?
Oh, it works. Yes.
So explain that to people that don't understand it.
So coming back, initially I said that yesterday was International Sushi Day, right?
Right.
With it being International Sushi Day, the first time I ever ate sushi, it was actually on my bucket list. I was a good grown woman when I ate it the first time. So I went to the Sit Down, which is a restaurant in Hyde Park. What I would do is I would tag the Sit Down. So that means now when other people are looking for sushi in Hyde Park and they go to the Sit Down, in that feed, they could actually see my post. Now, they've never met Marki Lemons a day before in their lives. But now they're like, oh, well, she took a great photo. They click on your bio, being nosy, right? And they get to know me. What's kind of funny when we think about that, we were at Celebration a couple of months ago, and I decided as the MC, I would model. Well, when I tagged the actual video, I didn't tag the resort that we were at in Florida, because I'm not licensed in Florida. I don't need people to find me for the resort.
Right.
But I did tag the Residential Real Estate Council at the Realtor Building. So in doing a search for the Residential Real Estate Council, the number one piece of content on Instagram for their location is my video.
Well, love it. Smart.
So that would be the farming. Think of everything that you do in your community. You want to be associated with those businesses that you're spending your money with in your area, because if you let's say you eat out every night of the week, that's, let's go 30 times in a month, that you are now tagging yourself to the businesses in your community, and people, think of it as a backlink, can find you based on how you're patronizing your community.
And the same would be true as well, correct me if I'm wrong, for being at a house, showing a house. If you are geotagging where you're at the location, if somebody's searching that neighborhood, that's another example of that, right?
It is. What's funny is years ago, and it's still up, Realtor Magazine actually interviewed me because I was the Baroness of Hyde Park on Yelp, because, for real, because I was tagging everything, the sit down for the sushi, right? It was tagged. And so they're like, how did you get to this status? And I'm like, well, because I'm eating here. This is where I service, and I'm tagging the locations. And it even takes it farther than that. I'm also now associates and friends of all the business owners in the community that I serve, because they also see that I'm patronizing their business and that I'm leaving positive reviews. So I do get special treatment when I walk into the restaurants. I get free appetizers and desserts. No one's comped the whole meal yet, but I get, add-ons because I do 100%, because they're like, oh, Marki eats here quite a bit. She has a lot to say. And oh, she has 5 posts and people are engaging.
Right. Love it. Wow. Marki, you've given us so much great content here, really deep and granular. Thank you so much. But I want to just share where people can find you, learn all about you.
So people can find me online. I tell everyone, if you spell my name correctly, you will find me. I am Marki Lemons, MarkiLemons. I also have a podcast, Social Selling Made Simple.
And I've listened to it. I've been on it. It's fantastic. It's incredible. You got to subscribe. Thank you so much for being on the program today. If you guys haven't subscribed to this is eRealEstateCoach. We'd love to have you here on this program as well. Thank you so much, Marki.
Thank you for having me.
Have a great day.
Hey guys, Jim Remley here with eRealEstateCoach.com. I'm excited because we just did a massive upgrade to the Path Performance Coaching platform. Actually several based on user feedback. We've got people joining every day. If you've ever been on the fence about joining, this is a great time because of these massive upgrades that we've done over the last couple of months. Let me lay them out for you. There's 3 key ones. Number 1, what we've done is we've taken all the hundreds of videos that we've created, the video lessons, the downloads, and we've simplified it so it's much easier to walk yourself through the program. So it's now broken into 4 key steps. So on each step, we have 4 weeks of coaching. So 16 weeks total of intensive coaching for you to have complete transformation in your business. So if you've been looking for a way to really break out maybe of where you're at, where you've been, or where maybe the market's taken you, and you really want to have transformation in your business, this is an opportunity because we give you intensive coaching on lead generation, on listing presentations, on sphere management, on really every aspect of your business in 16 key weeks. We get you fired up and we get you full throttle in your business. On top of that, we've added live coaching to this platform. So live coaching every Monday through a closed Facebook group with just our members from across the country, 30 to 40 minutes with me every Monday morning, giving you intense coaching on the best strategies, the best tactics, the best techniques that top producers are using from around the country. On Wednesdays, we do a Wednesday workshop. We bring in an expert to talk to you about technology, different things you can install into your business to get you more efficient and to help you make more money. And then on Fridays, we do a Friday mastermind where we pull in another top producer, somebody that's a superstar in their own market, and they talk to us about what they're doing, how they're doing it, why they do it, what doesn't work, what does work, and it's all Q&A. You can jump in, ask questions, all done again in small group settings. If you're ready to have a conversation about what the path might be able to do for you, I would love to have that opportunity through a quick discovery call. 100% no pressure, just me explaining the program to see if it's a right fit for you. It takes 15 to 30 minutes, and you get a little bit of coaching in there too, so it's a fun time. I enjoy it. So if you'd like to sign up for a discovery call, click the link below, check out the program, and let's get on a conversation together. Have a fantastic day. Looking forward to talking to you.